Do you dream about studying English in a fantastic place in England?
Come to England. Come to magical Cornwall. King's Language Academy has a language course just for you. It's called
Live the Dream.
It's designed for students who want to improve their English in a relaxed, fun environment, immersing themselves in gorgeous, natural coastal surroundings where spectacular beaches meet rugged moors.
Cornwall is an amazing and beautiful part of the world. We love showing students a very different side to damp England.
Visit King Arthur's Castle.
Surfing with dolphins.
Enjoy breathtaking walks.
Cycling in timeless forests.
And taste a local Cornish pasty.
These are all parts of the English course with Live the Dream in Newquay, Cornwall.
Whether you're an adult wanting to pass your B2 exams and live with a host family,
or a teenager wanting to come on our supervised group courses,
we have a special unforgettable course for you.
For more details, please visit
www.livethedream.es. Our courses run year-round and we have students from all over the world.
Beware, our course could seriously improve your English skills whilst having an amazing time.
You have been warned.
My level of English has really improved. I've learnt so much from listening to these podcasts.
Welcome to the King's B2 English podcasts. We offer exceptional B2 classes to provide you with the education and motivation to understand and speak English at B2 level. These podcasts will help you achieve your B2 qualification.
These podcasts are so easy to understand. My English has really improved.
Pass your Cambridge exams with King's. www.kingslanguageacademy.com. Hi, this is Vince Tracy, and I'm going to look at a little bit of advice we can give you in the speaking part of the examination. In fact, the speaking part 1, the examiner will ask you questions about yourself. These may include questions about your life, your work, your studies, maybe your plans for the future, your family, and your interests. The idea is to try and break the ice and test your ability to interact with the examiner and use general social language. So I have with me Anne.
Hello.
And then I'm going to ask you some of the questions which will be mainly about the present, and also there can be things about the past. So, if I asked you, for example, what do you most enjoy doing with your friends?
Well, I like going out for meals with my friends and having a coffee and having a chat. I like going to the pictures, the cinema. I like walking with my friends on the beach. I like walking in the mountains. I like meeting them and just having a chat.
So you notice that Anne tries to keep the conversation flowing, giving new ideas for the examiner to then prepare his next question. So, have you ever had the opportunity to really help a friend? And if you have, how did it happen?
Yes, I did have an opportunity to help a very, very good friend. She was having difficulty in walking, and she had to have many visits to the doctor, and then many visits to the hospital, which I drove her there, waited for her, and she appreciated it because she is living by herself.
So once again, you can notice that Anne has tried to expand on the first idea and give as much information as possible. And let me ask you, would you prefer to spend your holidays with your family or with your friends?
That's difficult. At the moment, I have a young family, so obviously I prefer to stay with my family. But in the future, when my family have, we say, flown the nest or left home, I would prefer to have holidays with my husband.
Again, if you are really paying attention, once I have asked the question, as the examiner would ask, I am trying to allow the student to speak. Try and keep the conversation going as much as you can, but once you think you've said enough intelligent comment, when you've made enough intelligent comment, then allow the examiner to ask you his next question. So, what is the best way for people visiting your country to make friends? How would you answer that?
The best way, well, one of the best ways is obviously we as a family can show them places of interest in my area. Also, if they want to go out by themselves, they can hire a car. And also, if they don't want to hire a car, they could use the touristic bus, which takes them around the whole area, and they can get on and off as they wish and look at that area.
Again, the examiner shouldn't interrupt, so be prepared to give as much information as you can. Now, I'm going to start the next question with the who word. So the minute I say who, you should be thinking of a person. So the question is this: who do you think has influenced you most and why? So once again, you hear the who word and then you hear the why word. So you're being asked two questions really. So who do you think has influenced you most and why?
Well, in my circumstance, I think my husband, because my husband has encouraged me over many years now to apply for jobs that I didn't think I would get, and I did get the jobs. He has influenced me to expand in my language, in Spanish, and also to come to live in Spain, which was a big step for me, but I have never regretted it.
Again, the questions have been answered, and if you can manage 1 minute or 2 minutes, then obviously the examiner will start to understand that you have understood the question and thought about your answer, and you can deliver the answer. Now we go back to a what question. What is your happiest childhood memory? The word, of course, childhood, relates to the time when you were a child. So whilst the question is being asked, immediately try and get your memory to think back to when you were of an age that you have a good memory. So I'll ask the question again. What is your happiest childhood memory?
Well, I do have lots of happy childhood memories. And in particular, I have two. One was when I was, I think, about 6 years old, And as a family, we went to a holiday camp, which I enjoyed very much. And at the same time, I loved horses. And my second childhood memory was when I was 12, 13, and I went on a holiday which included living on a farm with horses, and we rode the horses every day. We had to look after them, and it was a fabulous holiday.
And again, notice that Anne tries to give more information. As she's remembering one thing, she's trying to think of something she can add on to that piece of information. Now we go back to a who question, and this one invariably comes up. Practically always you will be asked, who is the best teacher you've ever had? So immediately you're thinking about your teacher, you think about your school, or it can be somebody who was not involved at the time of your school. It could be somebody who has been maybe a friend that's taught you. It can be your parent. It can be anybody who's helped you during your life to learn about something different. So once again, I'll ask the question and look to see who Anne is going to give as her answer. Who is the best teacher you have ever had?
Very difficult. I think, thinking about it, I think my mother, because she has made me into the person I am, with good values, honest, and also she brought me up in a very loving way, and she helped me in lots of different parts of my life, getting jobs, school, giving me lots of encouragement through my life. And I think really my mum has been the biggest influence in my life.
And again, if you look back and listen to what Anne says, she gives herself a little bit of thinking time. When she said, that's a difficult question, or that's difficult to answer, or something like that, it just gives you a little bit more time to collect your thoughts. So the last example we'll give you is when you don't get a question word which starts the question. In other words, you might not hear who, how, what, where, when. You might hear tell me, describe, something like that. So this time, although it doesn't really make a technically correct question, it is asking you the question when the examiner might say, tell me about a friend of yours. Then you'll hear the how word will come in during the sentence. For example, tell me about a friend of yours and how you got to know him or her. So now I'll ask Anne the question. Listen out for the beginning of the question, which doesn't have the question word, and then listen for the question word that comes later in the sentence. Tell me about a friend of yours and how you got to know him or her.
Well, when we came to live in Spain, we lived in a very... I didn't know anybody, and the where we went to live, there weren't very many neighbours, and I had a knock on the door when my husband had gone to work, so I was by myself, and a lady was at the door. She was from Wales in England, and she introduced herself by giving me a cake and welcoming me to the road and to her area. And we have now become very good friends.
Okay, so there's a little advice about the speaking part 1 part of the exam. Don't forget, the examiner was asking you questions, or will be asking you questions, about yourself. Notice how I use the tenses there. These questions may be about your life, your work, your studies, your plans for the future, your family, your interest. And this part of the exam is intended to break the ice and also test your ability to interact with the examiner and use general social language. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Vince.
Pass your Cambridge exams with King's. www.kingslanguageacademy.com. Thanks for tuning in to the King's B2 English podcast. Again, I'm your teacher Vince, and make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date with the latest classes and top tips to learn English with us. Please share with your friends and fellow students. Check us out on Facebook at King's Language Academy. And if you're on iTunes, please go and give us a 5-star rating.
It would be amazing.
Until next time, keep studying English, students, and goodbye from sunny Valencia in sunny Spain.